And it's exciting to know that you're still here, that you're still watching, and that I have the privilege of continuing to make this content for you. I want to ask one simple thing, that you give my new content a chance. If you haven't watched my newest videos, all that I ask is that you watch them and just give them a chance.
Now, when you think about the oldest channels on YouTube, what channels come to mind? Perhaps Smosh, Fred, or even Ray William Johnson. But when I think about old channels on the platform, I think about Mathew Santoro, a content creator who started his channel in the beginning of 2010. Mathew Santoro is unlike other content creators that I've talked about on my channel. He hasn't really been in major controversies that put him in the spotlight of being the bad guy, but for some reason, Mathew Santoro's channel would start to die over the past couple of years. Mathew's channel would hit its peak subscriber count in 2019, peaking at 6.4 million subscribers, which shortly after would start to bleed subscribers every month. Mathew has been in 2 controversies over his 11-year career on YouTube that we'll talk about in this video. In 2010 on YouTube, there was a certain style. Shane Dawson, Ray William Johnson, and Fred would all do this jump cut editing where they would say a sentence, then jump cut to another sentence, moving their whole body from one part of the screen to the other part of the screen.
Of Ask Shane. And it's exciting because I'm moving my hands a lot, and because
this style would rub off on Mathew Santoro, and one of his first videos are still visible as of today will show the impact that these content creators had on Mathew. In his first video called Texting the Pope, Mathew looked like he wanted to be the next big YouTube sensation off of that style of content, but unfortunately, it really wouldn't take off for his channel.
And I'm not making this up, this is the actual thing. You can send a text message to the Pope. Now the text messages don't go directly to the Pope, they go to his people who forward it to him by the end of May, which is a good thing because not all those text messages are gonna be positive, and not all of them are gonna be from adults.
There would be a huge gap from Mathew's first videos and his videos that he still has public on his channel, a 2-year gap to be exact. The videos that are still visible would have a different style. Mathew took on a style of his own where he would tell a story or speak about a certain subject. It was a sit-down video, but it wasn't filled with jump cuts or crazy memes, and it felt more mature. Eventually, Mathew would outgrow his older style of videos and would find an even newer style of video that would work really well for his channel, and that was list videos, like 5 Lies School Taught You or 20 Things to Do Before the End of the World. This kind of content wasn't fully explored yet. It's not like how it is today where there are thousands of other channels that do top 10 videos. Mathew had a semi-clean slate to work with, and he took full advantage of his new niche. When he first started his list videos, he would still sprinkle in some of his regular content, but that would change. In May of 2013, Mathew would change his content to exclusively list videos. This was something that would take Mathew to another tier on YouTube. Almost every video after May 13th would gain well over 1 million views, and with the increased surge in views came more and more subscribers. Eventually in May of 2014, Mathew would hit 1 million subscribers just 1 year after switching his content to list videos and 4 years after starting YouTube altogether. This upward growth for Mathew Santoro would continue for years until 2 major controversies would happen in Mathew's life. Mathew would start to date Nicole Arbor in 2015. Yeah, the Nicole Arbor who uploaded the video called Dear Fat People. It wasn't really a good look for Mathew. Mathew and Nicole's relationship wouldn't last that long, and Mathew would come out with a video where he talks about his abuse story. Even though in this video he doesn't call out Nicole by name, viewers were able to connect the dots and Nicole would be put in the spotlight for abusing Mathew. Nicole would end up denying those allegations against her and still till this day denies those allegations. Mathew wasn't the bad guy in the situation, and people really felt bad for Mathew, and they would come out with their own stories involving abuse. Again, Mathew wasn't a bad guy in this situation, but a couple months later, he would be. Mathew would be called out by Grade A Under A in a video titled The YouTubers Complaining About Drama Rant, exposing Mathew Santoro. This video would straight up expose Mathew for plagiarizing his content, and since I saw that Mathew likes to take down people's content, let me slide in the word allegedly, even though it's not alleged, because I don't want my video to be taken down.
Because I believe it would be very reasonable to say that from the evidence that I've seen and that I'm about to show you in a second, YouTube's golden boy, Mathew Santoro, plagiarizes like a motherfucker. I've seen evidence that Mathew Santoro plagiarizes a ton of his material from a website called listfirst.com. And honestly, right, that fucking sickens me. Again, let me word myself very fucking carefully, okay? I am not saying that he's a plagiarist. All I'm gonna do is show you the evidence and you make your own conclusions, okay? Alright, fantastic. This is not the only video and article that are suspiciously similar, right? But let me just show you the example of one particular video. On November the 5th, 2014, listverse.com published an article called 10 Weirdly Famous People. What it is, right, is it's an article talking about 10 people who are famous for really weird reasons, right? However, on November the 10th, 2014, literally 5 days later, Mathew Santoro made a video called 10 People Famous for Really Weird Things, which is a video also talking about 10 people who are famous for really weird reasons.
Now, before we had OnlyJayus who plagiarized their content off the internet, we had Mathew Santoro. Mathew Santoro would go on this site called Listverse, where they would create these lists that they would put up on their website. Mathew would take those lists and then turn them into videos. I'm guessing that OnlyJayus must have been taking notes from Mathew. This video would come out in May of 2016, just 2 years after Mathew Santoro hit 1 million subscribers. During 2016, top 10 channels would be at an all-time high, and now Mathew wasn't the only content creator that was making these types of videos. The niche became oversaturated with other content creators now making easy to produce list videos, and Mathew's views started to take a hit because of it. And all in all, the subject of list videos and top 10s started to fall off a cliff where people weren't as interested in those types of videos anymore. Now, Mathew's views didn't fall off a cliff after the genre got oversaturated, but he did slowly start to lose viewers as each month passed. Mathew's content started being produced with higher quality. He would say that he spent a ton of money to produce these videos, and one of the biggest changes was a writer that Mathew hired. Now, one of the biggest issues for Mathew was his lack of personality with his newer videos around 2019, and the reason for this was because Mathew was no longer writing his own scripts for his videos. Hiring an editor is key to having a high quality video, and that's why we have Advil. Don't forget to check his channel out in the description. But once you go past that step and go as far as to get a writer, that's when you start to lose grasp of your channel. Writing is your bread and butter to the video. You write your scripts like how you would regularly speak, so when you hire someone else to write the script for your video, you sort of get disconnected from your own channel. At that point, you're just the voice and face in front of the camera, but you don't put your personality into your script, and fans could feel that disconnect from Mathew over the years. I write my own scripts because it's fun and you could be creative. Once you take that away, you're just a narrator, which is fine, but you have to have passion when you narrate someone else's script. That's just my take on the whole hiring of a writer and going as far as to not write your own scripts anymore. On May 13th of 2020, Mathew would upload this video. In this video, he would talk about how he was going to switch up his content for that creative itch. And I mean, he did. He would switch up his content for a little bit, but after this video, he would switch back to list videos.
Anniversary of my very first YouTube upload, and it's been quite the journey over the last 10 years. I mean, when I first started back in 2010, it was a very, very different place, as you could imagine. Back then, I was just a small town kid who had dreams of being a class clown that I always was in grade school and high school and even university, and putting that onto a world stage, and I feel like I was able to do that. But the last 10 years have not been without its ups and downs. It's been a wild journey. During that time, I suffered many heartbreaks, both in the YouTube community and in my personal life. But throughout it all, I feel like you guys have been there with me. In the end, if I had to do it all over again, I absolutely would, because this has been such a unique, beautiful journey that I've been able to experience. And it's exciting to know that you're still here, that you're still watching, and that I have the privilege of continuing to make this content for you. The most exciting thing is what the next 10 years are going to bring, what the next year is going to bring. I'm going to be changing up my content. I'm going to be doing some new and exciting things for you guys, and most importantly, scratching that creative itch that I started getting all the way back then and that I still have today.
During 2021, Mathew would reach his breaking point and would upload 3 videos where he basically begs for his audience to watch the newer videos.
The only thing I want to ask of you, I'm not going to ask any sort of crowdfunding, nothing. I want to ask one simple thing, that you give my new content a chance. If you haven't watched my newest videos, all that I ask is that you watch them and just give them a chance. I know it's not my normal list videos. I know that's what I got famous for back in the day. I know that's what you guys have come to love. But what I've noticed is, as soon as I put a number at the front of a video, it does twice as well, 4 times as well than these deep dives I've been working on with my team.
A content creator by the name of Wicked Wiz would talk about why he felt like Mathew wasn't pulling the same amount of views as he once did, and I can agree with Wicked Wiz in his video. The content has gone stale. You can't even lie about that. When you do list videos for almost 10 years, you're bound to not only run out of ideas, but to also grow out of that content. If you haven't seen this video already, check out Wicked Wiz's videos on Mathew Santoro. They are great, and he's a small content creator that I feel deserves way more credit for his effort. Moving on, remember a couple weeks back when we talked about Blasphemous HD, and I said that when you upload a video where you say you're going to to quit YouTube, it's just a scare tactic that only gets you views for a couple of uploads before your viewers stop caring again. Well, this happened to Matthew, but he deleted his videos about this topic. He would upload a video titled "This is my last shot," where he begs for views, and he speaks about how he's losing money by producing this content and how great he thinks his content is, but it's just not getting views, and how if his views continue to fall, then he would have to stop making these types of videos altogether. This video would do good, but Matthew would once again find himself in the same spot to where he wasn't gaining views just a couple of uploads after. He would blame it on the algorithm, but it's just the topics he was speaking about. Matthew would upload 3 videos complaining about his lack of views, but would later delete all 3 within a couple of weeks. Now we get to the present day. Matthew uploaded his last video on July 17th, 2021, and on Instagram would upload this picture 6 months later, where he talks about how he has uploaded his last ever video to YouTube and moved over to Twitch as a full-time streamer. His Twitch account has 37.6 thousand followers, and while we're on the subject of Twitch, you might as well go and follow my Twitch as well, at Bills on Twitch. The link is in the description. Mathew Santoro would be called out by a content creator named Spooks and Jukes for being a super toxic Dead by Daylight streamer, but these videos would later be set to private. All in all, Mathew Santoro failed to change with the times. With a lack of innovation, Matthew would go from the top of list video YouTubers to just an afterthought. We don't know if Matthew will ever come back to the platform that made him who he is today, but it does seem like he's having fun on Twitch where he can be his true authentic self, even if it is cringy. But anyways, this has been the rise and fall of Mathew Santoro, a YouTube legend turned Twitch streamer. By the way, we are so close to 100,000 subscribers, so if you are new here and want to help me just get a smidge closer to 100,000 subscribers, leave a like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.